doing, everybody? It's Joe Vizio here, and it is time for me to go to work. So I figured I would make you a video, make myself a video. I kind of got another mom story to tell, and I want to start off and say that, it seems that my mother gets a lot of attention on this channel. And there's a reason for that. I haven't spoken to my father in 8 years. So, everything that I can tell on him is done by memory. My mother's making new memories. As I've explained before, she still lives with me. My mother's really never worked for anything or saved anything. She's never had her life together. My mother's always just kind of lived in a depression. Has blamed the world, how cruel the world has been to her, and has never really amounted to anything really to be able to take care of herself. And I seen this question come up on one of the forums where they were asking, what are you going to do when your narcissistic parent gets too old to take care of themselves? I'm kind of a living testament to that, because this is what I'm doing now. And I know it's kind of advisable to channel your inner Ollie Matthews and just let them sleep in the bed that they made. But most of us are empaths, and sometimes you may have a little trouble doing that, or maybe you feel guilty. I don't feel guilty. I don't feel guilty at all. I know I've reached a point where I do need to cut ties with my mother. I'm just, I'm not a two wrongs make a right kind of person. So I'm going to get my mother where she needs to be, and then cut her loose. Let her take care of herself. And, I've been trying to tell a story for the past couple days. And, and it kind of started out, it would have been maybe a 10 or 15 minute video. And then immediately my mother does something else. And I'm just like, oh my God, I gotta... So here, I'm going to do this again. And I'm just going to get it all out. I have more than enough to tell the story that I want to tell. And I actually, have this feeling that, I need to get Ollie on like speed dial or something. And because, I may need an emergency video after this one. So, let's start from the beginning. That's a good place, huh? Over this weekend, we decided that we were going to take a family trip to the beach. Now, my wife and I have been doing this for the past couple weeks. Me, my wife, and my daughter. And we've just been packing up the car, and, we kind of found this nice little quiet spot that we go to. And, this time the Whole family kind of wanted to be included. Everybody wanted to go, so we took a big family trip. Me, my wife, my daughter, my wife's parents, a couple friends from my wife's parents' church, my sister-in-law, her 2 boys, and yes, even my mother. We thought it would be good for her. Get out and move around a little bit. Although I do know that my mother is not faking with her illness. My mother does kind of milk it a little bit. And more so than milking it a little bit, my mother's her own worst enemy. She has some physical therapists that come over to the house a couple times a week. And for the 3rd time in 2 weeks, I have been questioned by one of these physical therapists as to why my mother does not go out and walk. You know, this is a battle that I've been fighting for a while. When I tell my mother that her leg muscles are deteriorating because all she wants to do is sit in her chair and watch old reruns of game shows all day long. I said, Ma, your muscles are deteriorating because you're not using them. The best way to explain that is, look at an astronaut that has spent a decent amount of time in orbit. When they come back, they have trouble walking because their leg muscles deteriorate on them. All their muscles deteriorate on them. If you don't use them, they will deteriorate. Look at these bodybuilders, these big muscle-bound guys. If they stop doing their lifting regimen, what happens to them? Muscles start to deteriorate. And this is what happens to my mother. This is the source of her leg problems. And I understand that she's got some issues going on. But when you build muscle around those issues, that makes it a little bit easier to deal with those issues. But as I said, I'm kind of getting hammered by these physical therapists about this, which that's not my responsibility, but they're asking. So we thought it would be good for my mother to go to the beach and blow the stink off her a little bit. So as I pack up the car, I've been very mindful to pack every walking apparatus that I think that she could use. So, I have many apparati packed into the car. That's the right word, apparati. Apparatuses. So, we pack up the car. Everybody's loaded up. We got 2 car loads. And we're headed to the beach. My wife tells her father what spot we're going to, and I have to say, my wife's parents are awesome people. They are by far narcissists. They nurtured their daughters. They did everything that they could for their daughters. And they grew up in a very big, happy, stable family. But my father-in-law is the Spanish version of Homer Simpson. I know this because I've been in the family for 10 years now. He works for me sometimes, and I've had quite a few face-palming moments that have either cost me money or time to try and correct. But he's a good man. So, maybe a lack of communication where my father-in-law didn't tell my wife that he wanted to be near a bathroom. We do have a couple old ladies with us. One of them may need to use the facilities. And my wife neglected to tell him that the spot that we have is by one of the bathrooms. So as we get over there, he takes a different entrance onto the beach. Totally different spot. And my wife and her parents start to argue over the phone in Spanish. Now, I speak a little bit of Spanish. If I were in a Spanish country, you know, I'd be able to ask somebody where the bathroom is. I could get somebody to pass me the butter. But I am no means an expert in the Spanish language. So my wife and her family are arguing in Spanish. And we finally meet up at a different spot on the beach, and they're continuing their argument outside. I'm trying to play the mediator. You know, guys, don't worry about it. It's okay. This is unimportant. This is a perfect spot right here. Just forget about it. Let's unload the car and get in the damn water. No, temper started cooling. And I have to say, I love my wife to death. She is not a narcissist. I would say if she plays any part in that dynamic, my wife is the golden child. My wife is the youngest. She has 2 older sisters. My wife was, I think when she was born, her parents kind of relaxed a little bit on the rules. So they weren't as strict with her. She was a little tattletale, so if one of the older girls want to go do something, it's okay, you can go, but you have to take your little sister with you. My wife was a golden child. Sometimes I've noticed that when, you know, my wife doesn't get her way, or you don't see things from her point of view, that fiery Latina temper comes out. Woo! I'll get back to that in a minute. So, we're unloading the car, and I start to pull out all of my mother's apparatus, and I'm showing her, well, look, I got your wheel walker here, and it's just a, kind of looks like a bicycle handles, and it has a little bench and wheels on the bottom where she can kind of walk and waddle around and wheel herself. It's helpful to her. She doesn't need it all the time. I think if she built up strength in her legs, you know, she probably really wouldn't need it at all. But we have it for her. And then I brought her a regular walker, the kind you see the old people walking around with the tennis balls on the legs. And then I brought her Quadruped Ultra Deluxe cane. And I'm telling her, you know, Mom, I wouldn't bring your wheeled walker down to the water, because, you know, you get that salt water on there, it might rust out the bearings and stuff like that. Your wheels won't roll anymore. So, but, you know, you got your walker. And I said, you know, Mom, I even brought you your cane. Oh, I'm not going to need that cane. Well, you know, Mom, it's okay. You know, you don't have to use it or anything. But just in case, I brought it for you. You know. Oh, okay, I'm not going to use that cane. So, you know what, Mom? You're not tied to any kind of contract or anything like that. No one's saying you have to use a cane, but just in case, I brought it for you. Okay, but I'm not going to. Now, this time, by this time, I am ready to take that cane and throw it into the ocean. I hope that that cane floats all the way to the United Kingdom. And some appreciative old British woman picks up that cane and uses it. But that's okay. I'm not going to let it spoil the day. So, I'm finishing unpacking the car, and I'm setting up the tents, and yeah, we got all that stuff. Chairs and tents and umbrellas. We're those people. We're those people you see spread out all over the beach. We're professionals. So, here we go. Get everything all set up. I look over my shoulder, and what do I see? My mother walking around using a cane. I wanted to kick that cane out from under her, but I wouldn't have done that. You know how it is. No old people were harmed in the making of this video. No narcissists were harmed. So we get everything all set up, and by this time, man, I'm ready to hit the beach. Got my daughter sitting there. She wants to build a sandcastle, and you know, honey, yes, we're going to build as soon as Daddy goes in the water, when I come back, we're going to build a sandcastle so big George Bush is going to come knock it down. So out into the water I go. I'm out there with my wife, and then my wife starts telling me what her mother was saying to her in Spanish. And she's saying, you know, my mom told me that if I don't get my way, then I just get mad and explode. And this is in Spanish, so I do not understand, but she's translating to English, telling me that her mother told her that if she doesn't get her way, she explodes. And I'm just like, oh, really? The nerve of her. Where did she ever get that? I mean, maybe we should call Ali and he can make you an emergency video. Validation? Again, my wife is not a narcissist, but it is kind of funny that her mother validated me without, not even in the same language. So, fist bump to mommy. So, you know, just kind of nodded my head and, oh, you know, I'm so sorry, baby. It's okay. Everything's all settled and done. And we're playing in the ocean. And here comes my mother and a couple old ladies. And they come down to the water. And they got a chair for my mother so she could sit there and let the water splash up over her feet and everything. You know, I think that salt water is probably good for her. So, everything went good, you know. The old ladies pretty much, you know, after my mother was done with her little water excursion, the old ladies kind of sat there and just played dice for the rest of the day. So it really wasn't nothing that was, you know, any overexertion of my mother. You know, she walked down to the water once, maybe a 50-yard walk, if that. So, rest of the day went on, no problems, had a great time. So, the next day, it is Sunday, and I need to go out to work. I need to go to work, man. Sunday is a 12, 13-hour day for me. My wife can't get a hold of her parents, so I kind of have no choice. Or I have to ask my mother to keep an eye on my daughter for a couple hours. You know, it's like 11 o'clock in the morning. My wife said that she was going to get off at 12, so, you know, I told my mother she should be home by 1:30. And, you know, my mother, she's in her chair, and she is just, like, absolutely lethargic. She is acting like she just ran a 50-mile marathon, And she's okay. I guess I can do it for a little while. Now, to give my mother some credit, she does get up every morning and make breakfast for my daughter. But this is not babysitting. This is a grandparent spending time with their grandchild. My mother tells me all the time how much she does enjoy it. I think there's a lot of grandparents out there that would kill to have that kind of time with their grandchildren. My mother is granted that. I don't really ask her to babysit often, but every once in a while on a Sunday, if I can't take her over to my wife's parents, I have no choice but to leave her. And I kind of really, when she's in this kind of state, I don't like to do it at all because I know what my mother's going to do. And I'm actually worried about that my mother is just going to fall asleep in her chair while my daughter's wandering around the living room. Now, my daughter's 4.5 years old. There are some times where I could set her up with her toys, set her up with her lunch, and I can disappear for 10 minutes or so and go look at the internet or something. But I constantly go back in to check on her. She's 4.5 years old. She cannot be left to her own devices. Maybe a couple more years or so, but she's a good kid. I think she is actually wise beyond her years, and I'll take the credit for that, because although I nurture her as a child as much as I can with the toys and games and goofiness and all that stuff, I also teach her a lot of things that a 4-year-old probably shouldn't learn right away, but she's learning it. She's going to be wise beyond her years. So, I set my daughter up with her Legos on the table. Don't worry, Tita's going to be out in a couple minutes. And I go back into my mother's room. I tell her, hey, I set her up with her toys. Just give you time to take an insulin shot or, get yourself a cup of coffee. And my mother says, okay, I'll go out and I'll check on her. I don't need you to check on her. I need you to watch her. So, I really have no choice. I have to leave. I have to. So, I get through my first job, which takes me about an hour. And I call to check on them. I call my mother's cell phone. And she doesn't answer her phone. So I kind of figure, I know how my mother is. I figured that she left her cell phone in the bedroom and she's walking back to get it. So I give it a couple minutes. And I call again. But this time I call the house phone. Now, I have probably 5 different house phones all over the house, including one in my mother's bedroom, which is about an arm's reach away from where she keeps her chair. My mother usually doesn't answer the phone. She usually keeps her volume all the way down, because if she answers the phone, then she feels like she has to get up and walk into the next room and tell somebody that the phone is for them. So my mother chooses to ignore the phone. But I call the house phone anyway. And she doesn't answer. So again, I give it another minute. And I call her cell phone again. And this time she answers. And she is just like 100% in bitch mode. First of all, she's breathing into the phone. because she wants me to know that she's out of breath because she had to walk to the phone, and that I'm a horrible person for making her do that. So she's into the phone. I tell her, Mom, stop breathing into the phone. And she tells me, I had to walk in here to get the phone, and then I had to walk out there to get the other phone. I said, Mom, why would you have to walk anywhere when you have a phone that's right there in your bedroom? She doesn't have an answer for that. I said, Ma, why wouldn't you just carry your cell phone on you? She says she forgot it. That happens to the best of us. It's okay. I said, well, then when you get the cell phone and you see that Joe's cell is calling you, why wouldn't you call me back? Oh, I did, but you wouldn't answer the phone. Okay. Something's not right here. But my mother's pretty aggravated. And as a matter of fact, in that conversation, when I asked her why she wouldn't just call me back on the cell phone, her reply was, do you think I am fucking stupid? Well, Ma, the jury's out on that one, but that's okay. So, we just kind of have to let it go. There's no winning an argument with my mother, no matter how wrong she is, no matter what you have to prove that she is wrong. She's still going to turn it back on you, which kind of puts us in the lesson of the day about how these narcissists, no matter what, they will always find a way to turn it back to you. So when I get home the next day, as I'm looking into my email, my house phone, when I get a voicemail, it sends it into my email, and I see that I have a voicemail on my phone. So I download the audio file and listen to it, and it's my mother. And what it appears that she did, when she said that she tried to call me back, what she was doing was that she was calling home instead of Joe's cell. So what she was doing is, the whole time I'm waiting for her to walk across the house or something like that, the whole time I'm waiting for her to do that, she's actually calling the house phone from her cell phone, which is making the house phone ring. So I don't know exactly what she did, but she's in the voicemail with her cell phone. She has not hung up the phone, and then you can hear the house phone ringing, which is probably me calling the house phone. And then what you hear is my mother with this demon-like voice, hate-filled, cursing me, first in Italian and then in English. She says, "Fangul," which fangul in Italian is fuck you, but if you say that first, fangul, you're saying like motherfuck or what the fuck. Pardon the French, I do tend to cuss once in a while, but that's what my mother's saying. And she's screaming for me to call one fucking phone or the other. And when I explained this to my mother, Mom, this wasn't me calling the house over and over again. I was doing what any father that didn't like the situation that his child was in should do. I called you. I gave you a couple minutes. I called you on the other line. I gave you a couple minutes, and then I called you on your cell phone again. If you just weren't so lethargic we probably wouldn't have had that problem, but I need to check on my child, and you are not going to make me feel bad for calling to check on my father. I don't care where you have to walk. So, as I show her what happened, how she was the one that was actually calling the house phone from her cell phone, thinking that it's me not answering the phone because I have her on the house phone voicemail. She then turns it on me, telling me that I am not giving her a chance to figure out how to operate the phones. Now, phones were invented before I was born. So my mother has a pretty good grasp on how to operate a house phone. We don't have anything sophisticated. It's just a normal phone. Dial the number, push the button to send the call. You can call somebody. Her cell phone, she is on her cell phone constantly looking at Facebook and Instagram and anything else that she does. She calls her sister, she calls me, she calls my wife. She gets on there with her sister with the cameras and they're video chatting each other. My mother knows how to operate her cell phone. So when she says that I need to give her a chance to figure out how to operate a phone, this is a bullshit excuse in order to turn it back on me. Mom, you fucked up. Own up to it. It's okay. We all fuck up every now and then. This was yours. So, without further ado, I am going to play this voicemail for you. I hope it comes out good. Might be a little loud, so watch your volume. I don't know how I have this thing balanced on here and everything, but I just want you to hear what I'm talking about. And mind you, she is saying these curse words in front of my 4.5-year-old daughter. So, roll 'em, Smokey.
Hello? Oh, Mark's on call! One fucking sound or the other! Oh!
You want to hear it again? Come on, one more time for the folks at home, you think? There's the house phone ringing. That's me calling. And I don't know why, what she did to where I didn't answer.
Hello? Oh, Mark's on call!
Mafanggol.
One fucking sound or the other!
One fucking phone or the other. Now, I don't know what she did when she tried to answer the phone. But I guess that was the time when I called the house phone and, I thought she didn't answer. I think sometimes it just does that because it is an internet phone. It does run through the internet, so, it happens. Sometimes you call, you answer the phone, there's nobody there. You just hang up, you either hit redial or you wait a second for the person to call back. Technology isn't perfect, but we have it, we use it. So, my mother turns this thing around on me. It is my fault because I didn't give her a chance to figure out how to operate the phones. Even if she did get a little bit confused, there is no need to curse me in 2 different languages in front of my 4-year-old daughter. This is the kind of thing that my mother does all the time. And I'll give you a momism to close this out, because this happened last night, and this kind of goes right into what I was just telling you about. This is how my mom is all the time. We're sitting outside, out on my porch, and we're just talking. And to kind of go back into the thing where my mother said that she was going to go live with her sister. My cousin nipped that shit in the bud. He kind of knows how my mother is. He knows that my mother is a predator. And he told his mother, my mom's sister, that you're not ready to have your sister come live here yet. My mom's sister, my aunt, her husband just recently passed away within, I'd say, the past couple months. So it's kind of been a little bit rough up there. My mother has always wished that this man would die because she thought that when he died, her and her sister were going to run off into the sunset together. My mom's sister and her husband have tried to help my mother out a few times, including letting her live with them once up in Pennsylvania, which I think I made a video about. That was a total clusterfuck. One time they went out to North Carolina together. They gave my mother a couple $1,000s to buy a little trailer. And I had used this, and I telling my mom, hey, listen, don't be so hard on Dominic. I said, you have to figure he's trying to take care of his mother. I said, have you ever made any attempt to try and pay them back for the money they gave you? Oh, I did a little bit. She never gave him anything. I know this for a fact, but, you know, she just lied. So anyway, she's sitting here and she's telling me about that and how horrible he is, and, you know, don't be so hard on him. And then she's telling me about her sister's birds. My aunt loves birds. She loves to have birds. They bring her joy. My mother hates these birds. And she's sitting here at the table and she's physically getting aggravated. And she's saying, and my sister with them fucking birds. The one fucking bird, you can't even touch it. And by this time, I think we get to a point where when the narcissist is speaking, we kind of really can't even hear what they're saying anymore. We just hear the patterns of what's going on. So I'm just kind of shifting it right into smart ass mode. And I'm sitting here and I'm kind of mocking my mother, and I'm going, that bitch, how dare her have something that brings her happiness. Give me that bird. Let's smash the bird to pieces. And I'm smashing my fist on the table and I'm laughing the whole time. I'm like, fuck your happiness, Karen. Fuck your birds. Just so that I can see, so that my mother can see a taste of her own bitterness. I mean, the woman likes birds. Why do you have to curse her bird? Oh, I know. Because it's something that you don't approve of. It's something that you wouldn't do. So now we understand the narcissist mind a little better, huh? I hope you all enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. And again, I still think I need to call Ali and get an emergency video made for me after that one, man, because that was a whoo. So I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I hope you're doing whatever you need to do to get yourself better. And I'm only kind of, poking fun with the whole Ali thing. I think he does some damn good and amazing things for people. And I'm still a big follower of Ali. I think he's a great guy. So don't think I'm harshing on Ali at all. And if you haven't seen him, go check out Ali Matthews. He's a great guy. And again, thanks to everybody that's been coming on here and checking me out and all that, and helping me to get this thing grow. And I don't think I have the best content, but I think I have some things that people can relate to and might need to hear. So I appreciate you.